Colby Covington just had the idea of 2023, guys, and I realize that we're only a few months into it, but Colby just suggested a date. Suggested a date for himself and Leon. And what do you know? It was International Fight Week, which is July. Wouldn't you know, that is rumored to be headlined by Jon Jones. Now, Colby and Jon on the same stage, I'm in. You're in too. And don't make believe for a second that Colby's going to be a different Colby on that stage. Colby Covington stepped to for doom in the streets, and you guys saw it. So I will just share for you, and you know, it really is important. I don't just mean it from an entertainment aspect. Jon Jones has more to offer. He has more to offer. I've told you guys before that quite possibly the greatest personality in MMA, and you guys have no idea, is Dominick Cruz. Quite possibly. The funniest, the most interesting, the greatest storytelling, greatest mind in all of MMA might be Dominick Cruz, but Dominick views himself differently. One, as far back as you can remember, he was a champion, so he's leading a division. He's a face of a division. He was a face of an organization. And therefore, he must conduct himself in public in a certain way. But then that got parlayed to then put him on a suit, putting him behind a microphone, give him a desk job. And then Dominick really felt, it is not my role to serve me. It is my role to put these guys over. So I just shared with you, you never really got to see the personality. I'll make that same argument. They're very different personalities, but I'll make the same argument for Jon Jones. I can come out and bury Jon all I want to you guys, and believe me, I do, and I will continue to. I got some very funny moments with Jon, though. I mean, he is an extremely charismatic guy. He's a funny guy. Quite frankly, his narcissism can be humorous. He can dance a little bit. He can flash a smile. I mean, he can get you laughing. I bowled with him one time. We had the whole bowling alley entertained and laughing just at the way that Jon was carrying himself and doing the ball and running off when it was done. I mean, there's really funny things with Jon, but somebody has to bring that out of him. Jon doesn't want to do that. And he also views himself as he's in a different situation, right? I mean, at some point, you're too old for that. At some point, you're too much of a veteran. At some point, you're too good. At some point, you're too accomplished. At some point, you've been around too long to be doing that. That is childish stuff that somebody has to do on their way up. I'm already here. I mean, there is an element to that we can't begrudge Jon. But think about the good times that you had, Jones and Cormier. I mean, that was some of the great stuff in sports history. Daniel Cormier couldn't believe that they were booing him and cheering Jon. So Daniel finally tells the audience the score. Hey, man, I've never done drugs. You're cheering for this guy because he's been off them 30 days. I've never done them. Jon Jones took the microphone and said, I was high on coke and I still whipped your ass. That was one of the most jaw-dropping lines ever. And Jon's got 20 more of those. He's good. Jon's a fun guy. But someone's got to bring it out of him. That's not going to be Stipe Miocic. I mean, this really does serve a couple of masters here. Not only is International Fight Week, they're probably going to have 2 title fights. It's probably going to have the heavyweights because that's been rumored. July 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere right in there. I'm not consulting the calendar. That's probably enough time for Leon to be ready. I mean, it really does start to make a lot of sense. Colby's coming right out of the gate making a concession. Right out of the gate, he's saying, Jon, I don't like you. We're going to do this on the same card. You're the main event. That is not like Colby to concede a placement on a card, but he's willing to do it. He gets the whole thing. In exchange, we get to see him on stage with Jon Jones. They're going to be going at it. Everybody telling stories about the college days. About the time they were roommates. I'm just sharing for you. As far as ideas go, you're going to put some title fight, right? International fight, we're going to get 2 title fights. We always do. We got Jones and Stipe. We think, okay, what other title fight would you like to have? What other title fight would you like to see more? And moreover, just to Colby's suggestion of getting these 2, they're complete foes, they're complete nemesises. They got heat back and forth, to put them on the same stage and give us a little bit of fun and a little bit of entertainment. I mean, it's got a real byproduct there, which is it can establish Jon. It can get Jon seen. Jon doesn't like to do that with his opponent. He doesn't like that. It's a sportsmanship issue. It comes back to him being a wrestler. But Colby is not his opponent. It's his enemy, and it's very different. It's very different. And if you think that Colby's just going to get up there and lambast him, you don't know Jon. Jon's clever. Jon's charismatic when he needs to be. He's funny. He's intimidating. There's a lot of things that would go into a public back and forth with those two juggernauts holding microphones on a stage.